Okay, so I just got my Galaxy Watch Ultra review unit. I've had it for about a day, and there's just a few things that I don't understand. I just don't get it. So we're gonna talk about that. But whenever you give bad news, you gotta sandwich it between good news. So let's start with some great things I noticed right away. And the first thing that completely stood out to me as soon as the watch turned on is the new vibration motors. Like, those are just way better than the Galaxy Watch 6 motors. Like, it's so much stronger, and the way it feels is much more precise. It's kind of like the vibration motor was just loose on the older Galaxy Watches, and when the vibration ended, there was almost like this little bit of trail afterwards that were just kind of kept going when it felt like it wasn't supposed to. But with the Watch Ultra, I mean, it's just so much more crisp. It really is a massive difference. The next thing I noticed right away is that you don't get a physical rotating bezel. It looks like this bezel can rotate, but it can't. And I thought I was going to be really upset about that because I love the rotating bezel on my Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. That's why I bought the Classic version. I prefer that physical rotating bezel versus just a digital bezel. But the difference here between the Watch Ultra and something like the Galaxy Watch 7 or the Galaxy Watch 6 non-classic version is that this has a raised lip on the bezel. So when you rotate your finger around the screen for the digital bezel, it's really easy to keep your finger in the right place and have it just work consistently. On the Watch 7 or the Watch 6, there's no tactile feedback letting you know you're in the right spot. And something as simple as having that raised bezel does make a big difference. So that's another good thing that I thought I was going to be upset about, ended up not being that big of a deal. So that's the good part of our sandwich. Now let's take a look at some of the bad news, and part of that has to do with the design. So we have a circular screen on a pretty much square body, which is kind of odd because they could have easily just made this a round body. I don't know why they went with square body, round face. Like, I understand why they kept the round face. That makes sense because it's consistent with the rest of their design. You can still have that digital rotating bezel. Like, that all makes sense. But I feel like it would have been better to just keep a round design. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad looking design. It's just a design choice that I don't personally understand. But let me know in the comments below if you like the square body, round face, or if you would have preferred an all-round design too. The next choice I don't understand has to do with the watch bands and how they connect to the watch itself. For a long time, Samsung's Galaxy Watches have been compatible with pretty much any watch band in the 20 to 22 millimeter range, depending on which Galaxy Watch you have. But now, Samsung has this completely proprietary watch band style. And while it is super easy to attach and detach, part of me thinks that this is just a move to make a bit more money on accessories, similar to what Apple's been doing since forever. To be fair though, by having this proprietary design, they can make sure that a bunch of different watch bands all fit seamlessly around the edge. And since this is marketed specifically for extreme athletes who are going to be getting sand, dirt, snow, grass, all sorts of stuff all over this watch, it does kind of make sense to remove any gaps. Because if you look at something like the Watch 6 Classic, you do see gaps where the watch band connects to the watch body. And maybe you could get a lot of dirt and debris stuck in there, which obviously would become a problem. So perhaps that's the reason Samsung went with this design. But it would have been nice if they made some sort of an adapter so you could use any watch band, not just Samsung's proprietary watch bands. And one more random observation is that if you get the orange watch band, it's not going to match with all the clothes that you wear. Like, I feel like this doesn't really match that well. I've never been good at matching clothes, but I'm pretty sure this doesn't work together, this color shirt and this band. But let me know in the comments below if you think this works together. Fortunately, there are other color bands that you can get, so you can get like a more neutral, kind of a gray, blackish band, and that's not going to be an issue for you. All right, so I've got one more small issue and then one that could potentially be a bigger issue down the road. So the small issue is that these bands come with basically just one size for most of them. This one in particular only has this one medium/large size. So when I put this on, I end up with a lot of extra space because I don't have the biggest wrists in the world. So it would have been nice if they gave us like a small version of this, or maybe just like a medium, which was just a little bit smaller. So again, super minor complaint, but previous versions of Samsung's Galaxy Watch bands typically always had a small, medium, and large, or either a small/medium and large. Like, they had different options, different length options. So again, super minor issue, but I thought it was worth mentioning. But this next one could end up being a pretty big deal. So when I first put the watch on, first started it up, the watch face that comes on by default has a compass on it. And I noticed right away that the compass was pointing exactly in the right direction, which is surprising because most smartwatches don't always point in the right direction. But after some testing, I noticed that it does occasionally, like other smartwatches, end up pointing a completely different direction. Like, I've had it flip 180 degrees in the wrong direction before. And so there's a recalibration thing that you can do, and I've done that, and it generally works, but there's been other times where I've recalibrated and it recalibrated totally wrong. And for most smartwatches, that's not really a big deal because, yeah, sure, you get a compass, it's kind of a little helpful, but not many people are really using that. But this is marketed specifically for outdoorsy people who are going to be hiking rough trails and doing a lot of outdoor stuff where they're actually going to want to use the compass on their watch. But I'm hoping that this is just a software bug that can be fixed with a simple update. And remember, this is a review unit, so while you can already pre-order them, most people aren't going to have these in hand until about another week or two. So there could very well be a day one update to fix this. All right, now that we're through the bad news, let's take a look at some awesome things with the Galaxy Watch Ultra that I'm actually really excited about. And the first thing has to do with the processor. Samsung's giving us a brand new processor in the Watch Ultra, and actually the same processor is going to be in the Watch 7 as well. And that's great news, and I feel like it's just long overdue because Samsung's been making really incremental performance upgrades on their watches through the years. And I'm hoping that this is enough to really push it over the edge and give the Galaxy Watch series a really polished, consistent, and smooth experience. And what I mean by that is that on previous Galaxy Watches, if the screen's been off for a little bit and then you raise your wrist, it almost goes into like this deep sleep mode. And when you try to rotate the bezel or navigate around, there's kind of like a bit of a hiccup and a pause as it's coming out of this sleep state. But then once it's out of that sleep state, it's super smooth and super fluid again. So I'm really hopeful that that's not going to be an issue on the Galaxy Watch 7 or the Galaxy Watch Ultra. But I won't know until I test this for a few more weeks, so consider subscribing if you want to see more Galaxy Watch Ultra videos. Another thing I'm really excited to have on the Watch Ultra is this third customizable button. Having more ways to access your favorite things is always a welcome improvement. And by default, this button just takes you to all of your exercises. Which brings me to the next awesome new feature called Multisport. This is a feature that lets you chain multiple workouts together as its own single workout. Now you could technically do this on older Galaxy watches, but it was a bit cumbersome because you'd have to pause the existing workout and then start a new workout without canceling the first workout, and you'd have to go through all of your workouts to find them. It's not like, oh yeah, I always do running, swimming, then biking. You'd have to do your running workout, pause it, then navigate to a swimming workout and start that, and then just repeat the process for each new workout you wanted to add. So this is a much more streamlined approach to that, and it's really going to benefit anyone who does any sort of CrossFit or multi-sport activities, or even anyone who just goes to the gym and does a routine that's not just one specific workout. I'm also really excited to test out the improved battery life because for a while I was using the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and with that I'd consistently get over 2 days of battery life with the always-on display enabled. But when I switched to the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic to get that rotating bezel, my battery life dropped to less than 2 days with the always-on display enabled. So being able to get multiple days of battery life again with the screen always on is something I'm definitely looking forward to. Another big sell point with the Watch Ultra is the max screen brightness. This thing is super easy to see in direct sunlight, which is really important because this is marketed to outdoorsy type people. And while we're talking about the screen, I also want to mention some new watch faces that change based on how much ambient light there is. So if it gets really dark, the watch face changes colors to be easier to read. The Watch Ultra also introduces a new feature called Energy Score, which rates your overall health based on a bunch of different metrics. And this is something that gets pretty detailed that I don't have time for in this video. This watch can even detect sleep apnea and let you know if you should contact your doctor about a potential sleep apnea condition. Like that's crazy. And it's also really important because most people who have sleep apnea don't know it. So just wearing this watch to bed will give you an idea of whether or not you have it and whether or not you should go see a doctor about it. The Watch Ultra can also measure your AGEs index, which I didn't even know was a thing until I started going through the features. Basically, Samsung says your AGEs index reflects your overall biological aging process and is strongly influenced by your lifestyle and diet. The Watch Ultra is specifically measuring advanced glycation end products, and then it even gives you recommendations on how to improve your AGEs index. And to measure it, all you have to do is wear the watch to sleep. It's that simple. And there's one more incredible Watch Ultra feature that's only unlocked when pairing the Watch Ultra with another one of Samsung's new products. But before I get to that, I wanted to let you guys know that I do have pre-order links in the description and pinned comments to the best deal that you can currently get on the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Those are affiliate links, so if you want to support the channel at no extra cost to you, using those links is an excellent way to do it. So that last feature I mentioned gets unlocked when you pair the Galaxy Watch Ultra with Samsung's new Galaxy Ring. Specifically, the two devices will talk to each other and help each other save battery life depending on which one's getting the best reading. So if the Watch Ultra is getting the best heart rate reading at the moment, it may tell the Ring to stop taking heart rate measurements for a minute. And it does this all intelligently based off a ton of different parameters and does it all in real time to maximize the battery life on both devices. And if you want to learn more about the Galaxy Ring, you can check out my dedicated video on it by clicking this link here. And even with everything I've already told you about the Galaxy Watch Ultra, I'm still only scratching the surface of what this can do. So consider subscribing and turning on notifications if you don't want to miss my deep dive into all the features. That's it for this tech episode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.